logicless, extravagant God. Dear brothers and sisters, some of you might recall this tragic incident. A 9-year-old third grader, Christina Taylor Green, became the youngest victim among the 6 people killed in Arizona, in the US, when a gunman opened fire to kill the US Representative Gabriel Giffords on 8th January 2011. Christina Taylor was born on September 11, 2001, on the day the terrorists killed over 3,000 people in the United States of America. She was featured in a book called Faces of Hope. This girl had an interest in politics and was elected to student council, a good baseball player, and she had told her father that she wanted to be the first woman to play in the major baseball leagues. But on that fateful day, the face of hope was nipped from the bud by one crazy man. When this tragic incident happened, someone remarked, "What a waste of life." A seed of hope is destroyed when it just began to sprout. When I read the parable of the sower and the seed in Matthew chapter 13, 1 to 23, the gospel for the 15th Sunday in ordinary time, I said to myself, what a waste of life. 3/4 of the seed is totally wasted on useless grounds. Coming from a farmer's family myself, what I know for sure is the farmer selects the best seed and sows it carefully in the well-prepared field. He makes sure no seed goes wasted. He wants all the seed to grow and bear fruit. But the curious details in this parable made me wonder what kind of a sower this farmer is. He seems to be imprudent and illogical. He is careless and extravagant. He scatters the seed indiscriminately, and some of the seed lands on the footpath, some on the rocky ground, and some among the thorny bushes. I asked myself, why is this farmer wasteful? Why is he extravagant? Is he crazy to waste the valuable seed on useless grounds? Only then I realized this parable is not so much about the seed or the different kinds of grounds. It is about the sower, and the sower is God Himself. The divine sower has a dream. He has a plan and purpose for the seed. He believes in the seed and he believes in the soil too. He hopes that one day the seed will grow and bear fruit. Like a good farmer, he waits patiently for the seed to grow. He doesn't interfere if the seed is choosing to fall on the footpath or on rocky ground or on the thorny bushes. He respects the freedom of the seed. Having gone through the details in the parable, a series of images came to my mind. A couple of years back, a woman came to my office and began to pour out her sorrowful heart to me. She said she wanted her only son to be a medical doctor. Since he could not obtain a seat on the merit list, she paid 1.5 million rupees to obtain a seat for her son. But to her utter disappointment, after 3 years, she discovered he had not even cleared one single subject. When she went deeper into the issue, she learned that her son was into drugs. She concluded her story with these words: "What a waste of money, time, and energy." Another incident is still fresh in my mind. A family wanted their son to be an engineer. and they invested all their earnings on his studies, hoping that he will soon graduate and take care of the family in the future. But they were devastated when they came to know that he, instead of completing his studies, had joined the terrorist group. These kind of stories are plenty in our own family circle and in our society. When we hear such stories, we say, "Oh, what a waste." There are parents who shower all their love on their children when they grow up, but in return, they get only ingratitude and sometimes even pain when their children treat them like dirt. And yet, the parents keep loving their children. Some teachers lament that they put in so much of hard work to prepare the lessons and go beyond their work hours to teach the students. But some students come only to create trouble in the classroom. And yet, the teachers continue to do their best in educating the children. Similarly, not all the parishioners cooperate with the pastor to benefit from the pastoral programs in a parish and grow spiritually. Some do not even appear in the vicinity. And yet, the pastor keeps doing his best, caring for his sheep. The parable of the sower and the seed teaches us that not every seed will bear fruit. In fact, a lot of it will not. Not all our efforts give us the expected results. At times, a lot of energy is spent, money is invested, and time is spent, but in terms of output, very little is achieved. Not all children respond to their parents' love in the same way. Not all the students benefit from the teaching in the same way. This does not stop us from doing what we are expected to do. Our goodness and kindness do not depend on the response of the receiver. The divine sower keeps scattering the seeds of love freely and lavishly. His goodness and kindness are limitless. He is good to all and all the time. He has no favorites. He makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends his rain on the just and the unjust. Matthew chapter 5, verses 45. God's goodness does not depend on our response to his love. Even when we reject his love, he keeps loving us. He is the same Father who lavished all his love on his wayward son when he returned home after squandering all his property on the useless things. Luke chapter 15, verses 11 to 32. There is no logic and no reasoning in God's love. He goes by his heart. Therefore, the parable of the sower says, don't give up. Keep on doing what you believe is right and worth doing. Don't stop scattering the seeds of your goodness and kindness just because some people turn out to be ungrateful. Keep trying. Keep going. Do the best you can and leave the rest to God. The efforts are in our hands, not the results. Even if you get only 30% of results, it is good enough because we are called to be faithful and not successful. Remember the words of St. Augustine who said, "Pray as though everything depended on God. Work as though everything depended on you." Therefore, dear brothers and sisters, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Quotation from John Wesley. Amen.